Good evening, everybody. Welcome in to episode 47 of the Fuzed Relativity podcast. Chris here, Friday night as normal, doing great. Had the day off of work, which, well,
Oh,
who
you're
doesn't
doing
like?
real great. You're doing extra great then.
That's it. Let's start things off with John. John, what do you got to say
You're
this
only
week?
doing this because you two have good things to say, and I was going to start mine off with a quote that my daughter gave me this evening. It fully encompassed my mood. She was drawing on our drawing tablet that I got, and she was looking at the laptop and said, "Those colors look dull, just like real life." And I thought, yes, it's that fits it perfectly.
Well, tell her to go outside. It was blue sky. It was nothing but blue skies today. I know there's still sun around. It was bright, but come on.
I know, and I think it was just the context because she's a teen, preteen, whatever you want to call her.
Is she goth? Is she goth already? That seems
No.
like a very goth thing to say.
But it was just the unintentionalness of it that was amazing and encapsulating.
Well, and I could see how it would be misconstrued based off of if you look at a 4K television and then you look at real life, you're just like, TV looks better.
The technology is making like the kids go, why would I? This is nothing. That's depressing to thought.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for that.
Well, bring it on back up, Kirk. How are you?
I've had 2 days off, and I don't want to brag or anything, but like I just had a great day off. When was the last great day off you had? Like, here's the thing. I got to play bass. I hadn't played bass in a while. And then you came over, we played guitar. Then I went and got a killer massage, and then I picked up a new book that I found and I was able to get. And then I stopped by Jim's Burger Haven for the first time. Double cheeseburger with bacon, onion fries, just destroyed that. And then, you know what I saved for the drive home? I picked up a milkshake. I think it was a black raspberry or a blueberry it was something purple. But I got a milk. Like, you know what makes traffic not so bad? A blueberry purple milkshake. I'm just saying that might be a tip you guys can try. Next time you know you're going to be stuck in traffic, just pick up a milkshake before, and then you're like, yeah, it's all right. Got a milkshake. So that was a pretty solid day. So not rubbing it in, but this could happen to you too. It's inspirational.
Sounds like a good one to me. I mean,
Sounds directed.
Well, I thought about one of those things, but no. But then I was like, well, since I'm out, might as well swing by the bookstore. And then I was driving back. I'm like, it's that burger place I've never stopped at, and so it just went boom, boom, boom.
and Kirk's also a bachelor, so he has the ability to just fly off a whim.
I don't have to check into no warden. I don't have to run nothing by nobody. The only shot clock I have mentally is I have to go back to let Shoop out to pee. So, but she's got a good 7-8 hours. Not that I want to put, you know what I mean? But I'm like, that's plenty of time. But the hamburger place was a childhood. It seemed like an old school time, and you guys said you knew it from childhood. But I have a childhood question for you because it snowed, and I tried to make a snowball, and the snow we got was crap snow.
Yeah.
And coming from Arizona, what are you looking for a good snowball, or what snow do you need, and then how do you make the perfect snowball? You want wet.
Wet snow. Heavy wet snow.
Yeah, it's got to be like we get what they call champagne powder out here, so it's a little more dry and fluffy, which is apparently great for skiing. But when it comes to snowballs, it kind of just falls apart. So usually you got to wait till like the next day when the sun comes out, and it starts to melt it a little bit. Then it gets wet and you can form it.
Wow. Dry and fluffy, that sounds like nicknames for neither of you two. Anyway, but continue.
Well, I was going to say, the downside to the dry, powdery snow is that, it doesn't form snowballs. It doesn't, the upside is it doesn't suck to drive in as much.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Preach.
Like, I had to go to work. I worked pretty much all throughout, and I don't think I slid, but, my tire slipped a few times, but it was mostly after stoplights. But I had no troubles driving in this because it was like almost like driving on a dirt road.
Kind of it like just kind of packs down, and there's no moisture in it, so it's not getting slushy nor icy. So it's just kind of like just another layer. Yeah, it's just a white layer on top of the blacktop.
But I will say it was brutally cold, and I wasn't down with that.
Well, so I'm guessing most of your exposure was during the day. Try going out in that shit at midnight. It fucking sucked.
When I'm driving back from the bar around 9ish or something, or I know later is worse, but it's getting bad. You know, when it's icy and stuff, you're like, it's crunchy. This is not good.
Yeah, it was particularly cold. Nice little blizzard snap that we got there from good old Antarctica. But oh wait, is that the south or the north? Which one's on the north?
I'm pretty sure Antarctica is down.
Or Alaska. Yeah.
Antarctica's down low.
If it's coming from the south, we usually use the term Albuquerque low, not Antarctica low.
Yeah, that's really low.
That's why I had to correct myself because I screwed up, all right? It's an Arctic blast is what they call it. I just said Antarctic, which as I think about it, I'm pretty sure that it's in the name, and all right.
That would be a giant blast, just all the way from Antarctica to Denver. Wow, that's some reach.
I mean, at that point, you would think that the tropics have gotten snow for the first time ever.
Yeah, it'd have to pass through some South American. But they're like, "What the hell's going on? This is mountains. This is nonsense."
Tropical rainforests. What's the name of that one?
It'd be different.
Amazon.
You know what else is cold? Space. So hey, right? Come on, not bad. What are we talking space wise?
Well, Kirk, tonight we are going to talk about the Milky Way, and I'm not talking about the candy bar, even though I could. We're going to talk about the galaxy.
It's not one of the better candy bars. I'll be honest.
No,
no. I really like them.
Zero bar for the win.
Yeah.
You like the Zero bar?
Yeah, the Zero bar is great.
It's a Zero bar. That sounds like a diet thing.
No, it's a white chocolate Snickers.
Yeah.
Oh. That's interesting. I never even heard of that.
Yeah, I can only ever find it at Walmart in the king size candy bar. It is by far my favorite.
It's like the size of a baton. You could club somebody with it. If it's in the giant section.
Yeah, like a Toblerone.
A lot of candy. That's a lot.
I'm going to say Reese's Fast Break for the win. Sorry.
The peanut butter is not bad. I always liked, I don't think even they make them anymore, but peanut butter Twix was my jam back in the day. Because you could scrape off the peanut butter and just eat the cookie. It was I don't know. You could anyway. I thought we were talking about space.
I know we got totally derailed. We're talking about candy bars. Really, Zero bar. I did not see that one coming.
Is that going to break up the podcast? Is that going to end it?
Oh, we were talking about childhood, nostalgia. And...
No, you want to talk about childhood and nostalgia. Okay, last candy bar thing, I promise. Do you remember Big Hunk?
Yeah.
That was our jam back in the day.
Was that the big white one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Broke your teeth every time you tried to eat it. Yep.
Because it was kind of like taffy, but it was never soft. It was always just bone hard or something. Okay, that's what I remember.
Is there the chat feature?
All right, how about real quick, Fun Dip. Seriously, Fun Dip, the little white chalk thing. That was a Little League baseball memory for me. That was a big can. There's 3 different flavors. Is that the same thing?
No, Dunkaroos were cookies that you dunked in icing, and they tried to bring them back recently. They're just not the same.
Yeah,
and they're
expensive as shit. That's what got me. It's $2 for one little thing, and I was like, that's. I mean, the nostalgia's there, but I don't. My wallet says, fuck no.
Also,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, since we're all reminiscing and you brought up baseball memories, do you guys remember All Sport?
The baseball card?
No, All Sport was it was Gatorade back in the 90s, but it was like carbonated and full of sugar. It was so terrible for you, but man, it was delicious.
No, I never heard of it. I'd never heard of it. I'm glad I didn't, because that sounds awful. That's carbonated energy sugar. Ugh.
It was not an energy drink. It was
it was just carbonated Gatorade.
That sounds weird. Sounds like it would be like pop or something. I mean, there's too much. It's amazing how much sugar is in Gatorade. Like, that was ridiculous when they found that out.
Well, it was so it was carbonated to taste like soda, but it was supposed to be a sports drink. And they pulled it off the market because they were like, look, you can't market this as a sports drink. It's not a sports drink.
There's no vitamins. There's what it killed me when they go vitamin water. They're like, what? Well, we thought it was healthy. What? Just because we call it vitamin water, it's supposed to be healthy? Idiots. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, it's all we're gonna tangent all over the place. It's funny how much that is pervasive in like everything. Like almost all of that organic food, it's the same food as the non-organic stuff. They just slap a fancy sticker and charge twice as much.
Yeah, like artisan is kind of the same, like real artisan bakers or something. Like, this is bullcrap. This is bullshit. This is not. They're just they're labeling it that. No one's like, you can't. How's a normal person going to fact check ingredients? You know what I mean? Like, what are you supposed to do? Take it to a chemist? Is this real?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I know this isn't at all what we were going to talk about, but I've been enlightened in far as nutrition goes, and how like a big thing is people making fun of food just because of all of the fancy like names that you can't pronounce, and it's just weird because it's all food.
Dude, while we're on this topic, John, so yeah, we'll get to the Milky Way. I promise the Milky Way, we're going to talk about it, but
we did.
Check it out.
Bar.
The Milky Way is not going anywhere. It's staying right. It's not going anywhere, but yeah, hold on.
So check this out, John. They, you know how they were working on 3D printing steaks?
Yes.
So apparently they have a new 3D printer out that they are proof of concepting that cooks chicken.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
The doomsday technology is getting closer,
and ironically, it doesn't taste like chicken. It's the one thing. How do you screw that up?
It's
everything tastes like chicken. Okay.
Here's the only gross part. So they use a laser to cook it, and so it's a cool idea because the laser, they can use different wavelengths of laser. So one will be targeted to the inside to get it to the right temperature, and then the other will be targeted to the outside to like sear it or give it a crunchiness or whatever. But it's kind of gross because it's like a chicken puree that they feed into this tube, and then it like spits out a chicken puree.
So it looks icky. That's what you're saying.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah, but that is like the grounds for almost all chicken nuggets, though. It's like I can understand, and that there was a lot of definite like fear mongering pushed from like I'm assuming vegetarian or vegan communities that were like, this is how. Yeah, it's all meat. See, I would still eat it, but then again, I'm not afraid of beets.
Ugh! You shut your mouth.
His Achilles beat. You knew that.
When we made this podcast, we agreed on two things:
never shower. You guys have well done. And what's the other thing?
Don't mention beets.
Okay.
Beets come up all the time. I say that in jest, but no, I would eat it too. I just thought it was kind of, it's a little weird thinking about some chicken being squeezed through a tube and then cooked.
Yeah, but the synthetic I was going to say synthetic meat. I guess it's technically, I can't remember the exact name for it. But that's just cells that have been, coerced into forming a certain way. Like it's.
Are you talking about the lab grown stuff, the cultures?
The one that it was it the cultured meat? There's like 3 or 4 different ways that they're doing this. It was
when he said cultured meat, a monocle and a top hat and a tuxedo going to the Broadway show. But okay.
It's just like it's all of the ingredients are going to be. Let me rephrase this because I've lost my train of thought. So when I'm talking about the doomsday technology, like if you could have a machine that prints out you a T-bone every night, you just have to start it in the morning, like our 3D printers. The stuff you're going to put into it is not going to exactly be awe-inspiring. Like you're not going to have a roll of filament that just says T-bone on it. It's going to be like amino acids and
isn't it going to be like more chemical than man, so to speak? You know what I mean? Like, isn't there just something to if you just eat fresh food that's not over processed, that's the healthiest thing you can do. This seems like it's going to be terrible.
It depends. Like I have a whole big thing I want to talk about with like food in general, because I do find it weird. Like.
It seems like the more convenient the food is for you to get, the worse it is for you. The more chemicals, the more crap they're putting in it. So it's like working to go track down fresh food is a pain in the ass, but it's better in the long run.
So here's the thing, Kirk. What he's talking about isn't necessarily fresh food or like processed food. We're talking about engineered food, which is it's more of a. Here's 16 amino acids mixed with 4 protein molecules plus this.
Carbon.
That gives you T-bone.
So it's not. I'm not thinking fast food. This is
this is like
this is like the bare. This is the exact ingredients you need to live. Efficiently.
I don't know if you've ever watched like it's Nymphu that's in the chat would know, but like Full Metal Alchemist. It's an anime that was on during the Toonami era. And in it, there was like a list of every ingredient that you would need to create a human being. And it's essentially that. It's when you break it down, we're all just a bunch of chemicals interacting and doing, everything. Same with everything. It's all just chemicals.
So essentially, they're breaking down the food into the quantum level of what's it actually made out of, not just here's a T-bone, here's CH412.
Well, okay, does it just look like a T-bone, or is it like supposed to actually like? I mean, I'm picturing it as like a chew toy, but you're supposed to swallow it, or is it actually somewhat
theoretically? Tasty? So, and this is all theoretical because I don't think there's anything that is physically doing what we're talking about at this particular point. It's just
so we're talking it. They haven't done it yet, basically.
But it is theoretically possible because if just like with our 3D printers, if you layer out the right set of things, it should work. And it would, if everything was lined up correctly, it should taste exactly the same. There should be no difference. Other than the fact that it was created out of essentially thin air versus grown in a pasture.
You know what ingredient's going to be lacking? Love. That's what's going to be missing.
But my thing with food is that, like, remember when we were talking about how hydroponics is, could potentially solve all food shortages by, relocating the farmlands
into giant warehouses, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need the soil. Yeah.
Why hasn't that happened? Because this isn't new technology. This is like I was thinking about it, and if a Walmart or a Safeway or something built a huge hydro, I'm getting myself.
All right, so if I'm hearing you correctly, what the crops need to do is unionize. That's what if I'm understanding you correctly. But the asparagus is marching and picketing. Okay.
If they have enough rooftop space to put a lot of hydro, my brain is just like stopped because it's what's the word I'm looking for?
Hydroponics.
Hydroponic, yes.
Oh.
They have enough space to put enough hydroponics on there to grow most of the fresh vegetables that they have on their roof. And in theory, it would be way cheaper than having it shipped from halfway across the country. Like, obviously, you're not going to get bananas or fruit or anything like that, potentially. And even, like, tomatoes would be... You'd be hard-pressed to get, like, a decent quantity of tomatoes.
I always tell them to hold the tomato anyway, so I've been fine with that.
But that's the thing that always is always baffled me, is how is it cheaper to ship stuff from potentially halfway across the world than to just grow it around you? Because everyone says, like, a lot of the people that are like, hey, you know, veganism's great, or, you know, vegetarianism's great for potentially offsetting your carbon footprint. But eating locally, like sourcing all your food just from local sources, is way more efficient.
Well, closer and fresher, and it doesn't have to be traveled by giant trucks burning gasoline. Yeah. I mean, it's simpler. It's right to your door. It makes sense.
See, and that's what...
I guess maybe just no one's figured out a way to make a profit off of it yet. They haven't figured, because it seems like once the first person does it, it seems like it'll be like dominoes. I hope.
See, and that's what I would think too. Like, the first person that opened up a massive hydroponic, like, it would just have to be like a hydroponic vegetable store. I would imagine it would, like, you're not going to get massive profits with vegetables. I understand that.
But it seems like you'd have a local follow, just because people it's like the people who would care about the environment and they know it's helping would definitely go there, even if you have to pay a little more. But it's like, it's fresh stuff. They're doing good for the environment. They're helping out. I want to support this. It seems like a lot of people show their support by where they put their money, where, you know what I mean? So that would be a great way to do it.
I mean, even theoretically, like, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but really all you're doing is, you know, the biggest expense would be water and fertilizer, and even fertilizer would be technically, potentially recyclable, almost be just from like the plant scraps, but you could almost just charge by the pound for vegetables. And again, I know this is kind of, we started this with the Milky Way, and now we're talking about reusable
or it seems like they could just sell all of their stuff to like all of the local Sprouts next to them, all of the healthy grocery stores that support that kind of stuff, and it's like a win-win for everybody. It's like, hey, we got these veggies, and we're selling to somebody who's kind of a similar audience. You know what I mean? Yeah. It seems like the people who go to Sprouts would dig that.
See, we've lost Chris on this because we're just talking about vegetables.
Yep.
Where's my beef? I was eating a sandwich. Oh no.
I mean, realistically, if the synthetic meat gets into market, like they've already talked about putting warehouses in, like, I think it was LA, that's going to be more than likely a local deal, like Amazon's doing. Like, they'll have a local warehouse that's producing beef. I think it's going to have a very hard time gaining traction only because of lobbyists in, like, the agriculture, which is why I think a lot of, like, hydroponic stuff isn't taking off as potentially as fast as it should.
Just like the pharmaceuticals and like the cigarette people, like kept pot down for a while, like stuff that, you know what I mean, they see a competition coming and they're like, no, I'm gonna put my foot on.
Yep.
Well, and my only thought on this is before I switch us over to the Milky Way, because I am excited to talk about it, and I'll explain why. But the only problem you're going to run into, and it, you know, part of the reason why they probably aren't doing more to push it is simply because what happens to all those farmers that they're getting the tomatoes from and such, blah blah blah.
But okay, I see that point, but you could. They're almost all automated as it is anyway.
It seems like the factory farming has ate up a lot of little.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a lot of little guys left.
The farms that are going to be, that would be useful for this, are going to be, you know, lettuce or root vegetables. None of that is farmed by humans anymore. It's some Billy Bob running through with his tractor. The ones that they use like manual labor for are more fruits and nuts and stuff like that, which you're not going to do hydroponically, potentially.
Yeah, I know. Every once in a while, I find a rock in my bag of potatoes. I'm always like, how? How do you get a rock in a bag of potatoes?
Well, that's just it. It's all automated. Like, I would guarantee that the first time those potatoes actually see a person is like when they're being loaded onto the truck to go to the store. Like, that's what I mean. It's like potatoes and carrots and lettuce, all the stuff that's farmed automatically right now would be moved over. And if you look, I know you want to get to the Milky Way, so I just have one more injection. The person that is buying up most of the farmland right now is Bill Gates. He owns 40% of the farms now.
Yeah, he went through a little spree where he bought up a lot of land.
Well, it's not just bought up a lot of land. He bought up a lot of farmland and owns the farms. The farmers are still working there. He just owns the land and pays them now.
Yeah, but he went up and there was a whole thing on that I saw where he was just buying up land like it was going out of style.
So wait, the farmers are on salary? That seems like that would almost be less stressful. Or that, I mean, is that what you're saying? He bought the land and then he's just paying the farmers to work.
I would assume, but again, like I said, the places he's buying the farmland, it's like Nebraska, which he owns 20,000 acres in Nebraska. I'm assuming that's all fucking corn. 40,000 in Arkansas. That's probably all corn. I could see maybe wheat and stuff like that, but again, that's 2 or 3 people that you're going to pay to run the tractor once or twice a year. Otherwise, I'm assuming he's automated, or it's all relatively automated and taken care of.
And all of those vegetables have been they have stuff that's reading your insides. He's already got you on the inside, people, so go ahead and get the vaccine. Okay, so Milky Way?
All right, back to the candy bars.
Finally, we'll get to the Milky Way because that's what I wanted to talk about. Now, the reason I was excited about the Milky Way is because I was driving around the other day and I started thinking about the Milky Way. And then I started thinking, what is the Milky Way?
It's a shame you can't see it from your vantage point.
No, never able to see it. It's too much light. But I'm thinking we live in a galaxy, which is
far, far away.
Yeah, which is one of many galaxies in the universe. Which they thought in the beginning that we were the only galaxy. So they thought that we were the universe, and then slowly more galaxies were found, and the problem is they're too far away for us right now. We don't have enough technology to get to them and explore them. There could be another Earth.
Right, we're barely getting to Mars. Give us a break, people.
Yeah,
I was gonna say we don't have the technology to get out of our galaxy, let alone not galaxy, solar system, let alone get to the next star. Let alone, I think the next galaxy is 70,000 light years.
Yeah, I'm fine. We can't make it there. Let's just stick around. It's all right. That's okay. We don't need to go that far. Let's just stick around. Let's start local, people, in our own galaxy. I'm not a galaxist. Is that a word?
So I started looking up the Milky Way just to see what is it? What's the specifics? Why is it special to us? And I was kind of blown away by the fact that it's 100,000 light years across, which is, I mean,
yeah.
And it's a series of stars. Are there actually planets in there too?
No, almost every planet that is in this likely has planetary masses within.
So the Milky Way contains planets and stars.
Trillions of planets and stars.
well, let me say this. My research shows me it has about 200 billion stars in it.
Yeah. And if you were to factor that at least, like, we have 8
Yeah, you're right.
planets, there's at least probably trillion planets in this solar system. Or galaxy. Jesus. I'll get it right one of these.
And then the funny thing about that is they were talking about it in comparison to the sun, and they were saying that we rely on the sun because without it we wouldn't have life because it would be too cold. And they're like, in reality, the sun is just a star, and it's not exciting in any way other than it gives us the ability to exist. But there's probably another planet that has a sun or, a star just like we have.
Well,
could potentially harbor life. We just can't get
Seems
there.
odds are.
I would say at least 1 trillion to 1.
But if all the galaxies and the billions and the blah with the Milky Way, there's 1 trillion things out there. So
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it's likely.
Like, even if, see, that's the thing. Like, our sun is particularly weird in the fact that it's only one. There's only one of them, which means that likely Jupiter was supposed to be the second sun, and it just never happened. But
You're saying our sun is gifted. That's
well,
what you're saying.
it's small. It's the opposite of binary solo. And I just realized I spelled a word. Yeah, it's unique, but it's not that unique. Like Chris said, there's 200 billion stars. Even if ours was like a 1 in 200 chance, that still leaves 1 billion suns just like ours. And there are models that show that, like, there could be a habitable planet in binary systems.
Right. Double suns.
Yeah. It would just mean, that there's the likelihood
Twins.
that... Well, and let's just take our solar system, since we're kind of talking about planets. Venus could absolutely support life. The problem Venus had is it had runaway CO2 or greenhouse emissions and cooked itself. What the Earth is currently heading towards. And then on the flip side, you have Mars, which had water. They have evidence that Mars was just like Earth. It was water. It was, filled with water. It probably had greenery. It was a second Earth. The problem Mars had is that it didn't have its core isn't turning. Its core is not active, so there's no electromagnetic protection.
There's no atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, it's that there's no electromagnetic protection, so the atmosphere just got stripped away over billions of years. I mean, it does have an atmosphere. That's the thing.
Well, it has some atmosphere, but it's not protected like Earth is.
But if it had a molten core that was moving and if the planet was volcanically active, it would be Earth. There would be life on it. It would be different. It would be colder, but there would be life on Mars.
But we know that
which is another candy bar, by the way. If we can I'm kidding.
Back to candy.
We know that even Mars has, in the summertime it can be 70 degrees during the day on Mars. So I mean, it's cold, but
and that's without atmosphere. Like, it would likely be just as cold here without our atmosphere. Probably not as cold, but it would still be cold.
Yes.
Like, it would probably only be in the 70s, maybe 80s on the equator without our atmosphere, but everywhere else would be fucking freezing.
And that's the cool part about when you really stop to think about just the grand scale that we see from just our galaxy. I mean, it really does open up a lot of
beers. No.
Well,
it's not like you're popping a top.
So here's some more perspective for you, Chris. And I'm sure you haven't I'm trying to fact check myself live, but there is a galaxy that is heading towards ours, and I think it's the Andromeda Galaxy.
Are we going to be besties?
4.5 billion years. So here's the thing, though. Like the Andromeda and the Milky Way is expected to collide. Here's what's going to happen: absolutely fucking nothing. There is so much space between all of the stars that they're just going to pass between each other. Like it'll be a spectacular thing for the people that are still potentially around in 4.5 billion years. But the Andromeda Galaxy is just going to kind of just glide right through the Milky Way.
There's not going to be any Michael Bay explosions and stuff.
I mean, there will likely be some just from gravitational fuckery.
Well, yeah, you have to imagine it's not going to be completely uneventful. There's going to be some craziness that happens, but
it's not going to be, like two frisbees crashing into each other.
How long did you say it's going to be until that happens?
This thing says in about 4.5 billion years.
When was the last time you saw two frisbees crash into each other?
This is a good
I
question.
rest my case. You're witness. No, just you said that in my head. I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen that.
And the Milky Way they've estimated to be 13.5 billion years old. So, granted, we will be long forgotten by 13.5 billion years or 4.5 billion years from
Dust.
now. But, it'll.
What are we going to end up in the coldness of death, or what is your catchphrase?
The heat death of the universe.
Is it going to be even better? Pounded to dust. Okay.
Well, I mean, that in that amount of time, because realistically, we do lose stuff to atmosphere. The just being sloughed off with the solar winds and all that stuff. Most humans that are alive right now, one would think this is a closed system, and that in 4.5 billion years, every particles that was used would be reused. Yeah. No, we'll probably all have been blown away by solar winds by then. That was depressing.
Yeah, I wonder where your daughter gets it from. I don't know. Where I don't know.
But just thinking about the number 200 billion, right? 200 billion. Oh, excuse me. 200 billion stars packed into our galaxy. I mean, that's a number that you can't even really think of,
Jeff
and
Bezos,
I was gonna say,
Jeff Bezos is like, I need that,
and yet we have two people that have more than that in dollars.
Yeah, but
a lot of dollars.
But just the amount of space, because you think about Earth is a planet, so it's not a star, but you think about how big a star is, there's a lot of space. I guess my whole fascination with it is just wrapping my head around the actual vastness of, considering the fact that when you think about us as humans in the sense of the grand scheme of the universe, we're not even ants. We're like microbes.
They're not even microbes. We're like atoms. Sentient atoms.
You kind of, Chris, you kind of sound like a high college student. If you think about it, we're just molecules. Pin out of a head. If you thought about that?
If this apple was the Earth.
Well, I don't know what to tell you there, Kirk. All I know is that's where my brain went when I started thinking about the Milky Way galaxy, because it really is. It's big.
Well, yes. So is Shaq.
Yeah. But we've only seen 10%, not even 10% of our galaxy.
So there's more to explore. Some explorers way later are gonna, have a fun time doing that.
I could see, we've seen a decent amount of our. Are you talking as in with telescope?
Well, I know with the telescope we've seen a lot more, but even if you just look at space travel, we've seen less than 1%, by far of
Oh,
what
no,
our
no, no.
galaxy
Well,
has to offer.
as far as space travel, we've seen zero.
Right.
It is so infinitesimally small of a percentage that it's zero.
Because there was that one probe that they sent out that I think that wasn't it actually exiting the solar system.
Voyagers.
Yeah. Yeah. So it
No, no,
and that's
they're not.
just
They're in the heliosphere. They're not even out of the solar system yet. They are just working on getting out of this solar system. Like they're still in the sun's influence.
right. But but I'm talking about like that has been traveling for what, 30 years or 50 years?
That's a bad analogy. And the reason that's a bad analogy is because those do not have modern propulsion units on them. They do not have modern anything on them. Like, if I'm not mistaken, let me quickly.
So they're antiques. They shot an antique, and well, maybe when it left, it was modern, but now
Oh
it's
no,
out
absolutely.
of
When
date.
it left, it was kind of bit antiquated anyway.
Huh.
But the like, it doesn't have ion thrusters. Like, I'm almost positive the Voyagers do not have ion thrusters. Yeah, they have cold gas or hot gas. I don't know. They just said they have 3 thrusters that fire in tiny pulses. So they have a gas-based propulsion system, which by today's standards is antiquated as hell, because if you have an ion system, you need, you could have a water bottle full of xenon, and that will power that spaceship for decades. As far as the thruster is concerned, you just have to power the thing.
They have that, but did they have seat warmers? That's a nice touch.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, they're 40 years old. Like, their nuclear batteries are deteriorating. They have had to shut them down. Like, there will come a point where there's just not enough power to run the communicator to even talk to them anymore, and they'll just be gone.
Well, I think that's what they said about the one that was getting ready to exit the solar system, was that they were going to lose communication with it the second that it got out of the, range of.
And
our
is this called?
system.
Is it a satellite?
No.
Is that what this is? What is this? What's
Yeah, it's
the
just
name?
a satellite.
Okay,
It's the
it's a satellite,
Voyagers.
okay.
But that's it. If it loses power or signal, it's because it ran out of power. Because that was the thing. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, these are using radio-based communications. We have laser-based communication now, which is speed of light. Now, yes, it would still, and radio is still speed of light. I get that, but laser is more direct. Even from where they're standing, you point a laser at it, and you can, you point the laser towards the sun, you're going to hit Earth by accident.
Well, didn't anybody have the thought of, hey, we should probably build another space satellite because this one is,
They
it's
did.
going so far. Like, okay, so have they launched it yet? Is it at least moving?
I'm trying to remember. Like, Voyager 1 and 2 were both sent to, well, and it wasn't even their primary mission. That's the thing. Like, this is another one of those NASA things that are like, if it does it, yay. They were sent to.
Well, yes, yes. If it does, if the thing we want happens, then that's
well,
everything.
no, they were sent to like observe Jupiter and Saturn and the planets. Like, they weren't expecting them to still be communicating 40 years down the line when they exited the heliosphere.
It seems just like the Mars thing that just keeps on ticking. They expected 5 launches, and it seems like the same thing. They just sound like they underestimate what their things can do, so they can impress people.
They also had, road trips, tourist attractions to go to. Like, one of them orbited Pluto just to get some pictures.
Well, and that's just it. So let's put into concept. Like, the Voyagers left 40 years ago. They hit Pluto on they were launched in 1977. They hit the heliosphere in 2018, but they went to Neptune. So it took them almost 10 years to get to Neptune. New Horizons, which was launched in 2006, got to Pluto in 11 years, which seems very similar. But I think New
Horizons also like it hit or stopped at Jupiter in 2007.
For a pit stop.
Yeah.
Sure.
Rest stop. Yeah. Got to
And
hit
it's
those
heading
truck
towards
stops.
it's heading towards the Kuiper Belt as well, but it's got I think New Horizons, well, maybe it doesn't have a
Oh,
ion.
speaking of road trips, real quick, somebody was telling me at truck stops they have these chiropractor people because the truck guys, their backs are so bad, and they have these giant, like they can adjust, and like I never until they said it, that makes sense to me. That of course the truckers would need good chiropractor guys to like. Does that make sense to you?
Yep.
I mean,
they have sometimes they have chiropractors, barbers. I mean, you'd be surprised what they have in these places.
I was going to say
the travel
shops
agent,
have
the
like
TA, yeah, everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did.
But I mean, even then, John, you think about it, even with new technology, or newer technology, we should say, it took 11 years to get from here to Pluto.
No, I'm
That's
aware. But that was also with stops and without, because it does not look like, I cannot find, because my computer, there we go.
But even for us to get from here, from Earth to Mars is 6 to 9 months. That's a long time.
Yes, we've established this. Space is far.
But that's, like, yeah. Again, that's with antiquated NASA technology. I will leave it at that.
But I'm hoping you guys understand where my brain's at with this. It's just that
You can't.
Sometimes
It's freaking huge.
Well, here's a way to even more expand it. The universe itself is about, what'd you say, Chris? 13 billion years old?
Our galaxy, yes.
Well, in general. There are galaxies that are older than 13 billion years whose light has never reached us and likely will never reach us because they are so far away, light hasn't reached us yet.
Okay,
Right.
can we stop expanding on the expansiveness of these? We're expanding space even farther by talking about it.
Yes.
Don't you see you're adding to the problem? That's a science. I don't think that's scientifically true. Don't Google that, people.
Everybody come after Kirk for that one.
Yes. Take me down, space nerds. All right. That was, I think those were ray guns, I think. I don't
But, once again, it just sometimes when I have time on my hands, I think about this kind of stuff, and it really got my brain thinking about just the expansiveness of where we live and how long it would take to go anywhere in this place.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's good to let your mind wander. It'll come back.
Not if it goes to space. It'll be gone forever.
That's what happened to you. See, that your head's in the clouds, literally further.
13 what did I say, 100,000 light years across in our galaxy? That's a lot of light years.
Mm-hmm.
And I still don't know what the hell a light year is, so
I told you. It's the year, how long it takes for light to travel a year.
and
All
it
right.
makes no sense.
How does it not make sense?
No, I mean it just in theory, like,
Oh, no, it's imperceivable to us.
yes.
Like Bezos and Elon Musk's money.
I can't even picture when people say an acre. I can't even wrap my head around that. So I'm not getting space anytime. I'm not getting a light year anytime soon.
Yeah, we grew up on 5 acres, and even 5 acres, you're just like, that's a lot.
Right.
Well-
it's a big space.
Talking about nostalgia again, it's a lot when you're like thinking about it as a kid. When you go back and look at it, you're like, this is fucking small.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not as big when you're an adult versus a kid, but
That's everything. Yeah. Teachers are giants, and then she was 4'11".
right. Like that teacher wasn't that big. I totally could have taken her.
Shouldn't have been intimidated that whole time. Could have popped her. No, it's
Well, I guess now's a good time as any to take us over to Kirk's Corner.
all right.
I feel I shouldn't have to The champagne's getting a little stale.
Yeah, you don't gotta say nothing.
All right, it's okay. What are we doing? So nothing new. So let's just get right to the joke, shall we? Let's.
Yeah,
It's another.
lighten
It's
up.
comedians. Yeah, comedians dozen with 2 lists at the end. So I noticed there's a lot of food and getting older seems to be the theme. So see if you pick up on that. But okay, so here we go. The first one. I can't wait to see what the next epidemic is. I'm hoping for hot fudge. That would. Fingers crossed. All right. I don't know what a teeter tater totter is, but it sounds amazing. Come on.
Sign me up.
Teeter tater tot. Oh, it's delicious. And I was actually I was a Mr. Bean counter. One. There was always only one.
Easiest job ever.
Yeah, it was a lot of downtime. And there he is. And then it just okay. Did you guys know the Wicked Witch of the West did not get along with the witch from Hansel and Gretel? But you know what they say, witches be witches. Okay. Come on, nothing?
Nah.
All right. Do you think did Santa ever get Rudolph checked for radiation? I mean, why would that the nose is glowing, but it benefits me, so I don't care. That seems a little cold-blooded, Santa.
Way to bring it down, Kirk.
Oh, please, come on! I can't top Mr. Uncle Fester over there. You know what they say? You know what? Fight the power walkers. That's what I say. Hashtag getting older. See, I used to fight the power. Now I fight the power walkers. All right. If you clogged an outhouse, you might be a redneck who should eat more salad. All right. Looking at you, Chris.
Yeah.
I think you've done that once. All right. You know what? I put my feet in the air and relax like I just don't care. Hashtag getting older.
Bachelor life.
You know what? Jeffrey Dahmer loved handshakes. Bada boom. Okay. Loved handshakes.
Oh.
What? You weren't expecting jokes. Okay. You know what? Here's a science one. Here's a science one. The lack of waves from sports stadiums threw off the rotation of the moon. Did you know that? You see, if there was no fans, so they couldn't do the way. All right. It was a science sport. It was a joke for both of you to get and not laugh at. Okay. That was all right.
I laughed. I chuckled.
All right. Perfect. All right. 2 more, and then we're getting to the list. So, you know, it's home is where the heart pills are. Okay. And if you're getting a pig heart transplant, that has to raise your cholesterol. You know, there's no getting around that. Except maybe it might actually lower yours, Chris.
Possible.
All right. Here's a couple lists. Just a saying: a fool and his Bitcoin get along just fine. They're on the same level, basically. A fool and his Bitcoin part their hair. That's stupid. Okay. Here's this. I don't know if here are more cattle brand suggestions because I think I've done this before. Suggestions for cattle brands. Here are more cattle brands that you can use if you have a cow. Just food for thought. If you have a cow, here's what you can brand on them. First one, move, bitch, get out the way. Okay, that's what you should. 4 stomachs, 2 ears, digest more, listen less. That's kind of a long one. That's going to hurt the cow. Here's a personal favorite. This cud's for me. It's not for you. It's not for you. I'm the cow over here. Don't you forget it, mister. It's another long one. 2 more. Another cow brand you could use is Fresh Pies Made Daily. Okay. And the last one, 100% leather eventually. Okay. So bada boom. So there's some jokes, there's some lists, but what do we want to chat about?
The Jeffrey Dahmer one was it was funny. It just took me a second to get it, and then yeah, I liked it. It was good, Kirk. It was clever.
I'm partial to healthcare jokes though, so not Dahmer, but you know, the walkers.
The walkers. Oh, come on. Fight the power walkers. You just like picture them just shuffling along. Like, why would I fight them? How are power walkers that's the thing, because like fight the power, all right, the power's holding you down, it's doing something again, it's, you know what I mean, what are power walkers doing where you're not succeeding? That's on you, I think.
Well, yeah.
You know what, I liked how you adjust that as a serious point.
Yeah. It's valid and unsubstantiated, but I'll accept it.
Completely silly, random, out of nowhere, but it logically made sense. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Should we skedaddle out of the corner? And,
Skedaddling time.
Skedaddle, daddle, daddle, daddle. That's what the door says now.
Sound effects by Kirk.
It's just every time those doors, you know what? I can, different sounds every time. That's the Fuzed relativity guarantee.
If only those doors played the Doors, all would be right in the world.
I don't think we could afford the right now. I think.
Well, I guess it's that time of night where we get to go off topic, which we've pretty much been doing all night, but let's go a little further off topic. I don't have anything about candy bars, so.
What do you got then?
I'll start. Yeah, I got Elon Musk. Well, I shouldn't say Elon Musk. Starlink, which is, the satellite service internet by Tesla.
Or not Tesla.
SpaceX. Yeah, SpaceX. Same company, different name. Anyway, if you have Starlink or pre-ordered or are going to order Starlink, you should know that it is not protected by damage from dinosaurs.
So this is Elon Musk being a smartass, right?
Probably.
I would think so.
It seems like by the way, he's not American. Like that seems like a foreign. That doesn't seem like an American name. Where's he from?
South Africa.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I thought so. He just has a different frequency. The way so I think he's just kind of being a smartass and having some fun.
I thought it was a funny story because I was like, really? They're not going to protect you from dinosaur damage? That's not in the rider? Come on.
I mean, technically all avians are dinosaurs, but and we still have creatures that were alive around the time of dinosaurs, so.
I like that. You know what? Like if you accidentally time travel and get hit by a dinosaur, it's on you. That's what I'm dealing with the now.
Crocodile, trilobite. Probably any of the sharks. If your Starlink gets eaten by a shark,
don't fly and battle a gator. Don't be a dummy.
But how about this? What about if there's a volcanic eruption and your Starlink gets taken out by a fossil?
If it's coming from lava, it's going to be melted. There's not going to... Come on.
Yeah.
There's no way a fossil could live in lava.
Well, no, but if the volcano erupts, it's going to explode and blow chunks of rock and shit everywhere. Like, it won't necessarily be lava. There will be pieces of rock that could potentially be fossils.
So you're saying it's going to catapult fossils that are in dirt and just kind of launch it before the magma burns it?
Probably. Yes.
That's okay. If it blows like a top, like there's a lot of pressure and it's like, poo! Okay, maybe I can see that.
I mean, I guess if you're in range to get hit, you're probably screwed anyway, but that's not the point. They should replace your Starlink satellite dish. That's all I'm just saying.
Even with lava. Okay.
So,
sure.
I will continue with Musk bashing. Did you see that he's throwing a fit about the person that is tracking his plane?
That was awesome.
Well, no. Okay, explain your part, Chris, because I'm curious where you're going to take this.
All right, so Kirk, I don't know if you saw this story, but
I know nothing. Just go
all
ahead.
Right, so Elon Musk has got a guy who tracks his private plane,
which is completely legal.
Not illegal. It's fair to do. You can do it. And he offered the person $5,000 to stop tracking his private plane, and the person was like, "Nah, I like what I do. I'm gonna say no less than 50 grand."
What the hell do you get out of track? Why would he do this?
Elon is now being paranoid because he thinks people are going to like take him out because, you know, the whole bully.
Why is the guy tracking him though? What is he getting out of that? I don't get it.
Well, apparently $5,000. Well,
he turned it down. So he did this just to blackmail.
So
extort. That's why he's doing this.
The reason I brought this up is how pitiful and how out of touch Musk is. Like, I get that, you know, it would set a bad example if, you know, people started figuring out that he would give them $1 million to stop fucking with him. Then everyone would fuck with him. But the thing is, like, everyone's going to fuck with him now. Like, the amount of, I'm assuming, copycat Twitter accounts that have popped up is probably ridiculous.
So they're just doing this to be assholes.
Pretty much.
But here's the thing. And this is what, like, I'm torn on the subject because, yeah, it makes no sense. He's not doing anything potentially useful other than, like, the only thing I could see is if he flew into Boca Chica and there was rumors that there was potentially a Starship launch, then people would start being like, oh, it's about to fly because Musk is at Boca Chica. But, like, it's just the fact that the amount of money he offered is essentially zero.
Yeah, $5,000 to him is $5 to us.
Like,
I mean,
1% of his.
But he's not giving it to. He's giving it to somebody else. So it's, I don't know, $5,000 to not be an ass. It seems like at least a starting level.
No, I would agree. But here's where I thought this whole thing was kind of weird. Was like if someone was doing something that I was like, hey, I know this is legal, but please stop. I'll give you $5,000. I could potentially work together and get $1,000 or $5,000 by the end of the month. Musk has probably like the fact that 5% is like a millionth percent of his total wealth is ridiculous.
He could give $5,000 to everybody on the planet.
Probably not on the planet.
Not on the planet. But
I mean, maybe $5 to everyone on the planet, but the fact remains, like, if he was really bothered by this, he could have been like, yeah, here's $1 million. Fuck off. Like, $1 million to him is what he earns by typing out the tweet, hey, fuck off.
Yeah, but in fairness, like, you don't want to set that precedent, as you were stating before.
I get that. But even if he had 1 million people, or 1,000 people copycat him, that's still less than 1% of his revenue. Like,
I mean, people in the Hollywood business have been dealing with paparazzi for forever. So
it seems like the price you pay for being famous nowadays.
Yes,
you just have to don't fight them. Just like, all right, this is a part of my. It's like just every job has an annoyance. That's one of them. If you're a celebrity, it seems.
To give you perspective, if he paid out $1 billion to the people who were bugging him, it is the equivalent to, like, me and Chris of about $200.
See, this is like we're doing the same thing with space. Like, space is really, really big.
Elon
Musk has a lot of money.
Like that's $1 billion to him is comparable to about $200 to us. That's how fucked it is. But that's a topic for another time.
He never learned to share.
I just like that somebody was spending the time to track him, and he was like, "Hey, stop it!"
Wait! The guy, you don't like when your phone tells you where you're going. How do you square that? That seems kind of a dick move.
I'm an enigma, Kirk.
Here's the thing.
All right.
Here's the thing.
But I don't want to be.
Planes are. Anyone can track a plane. Planes are publicly tracked. It's
you have to. I think there's potentially ways like he could not be tracked, but I think that's like the only exception to that is being the president, which he can't. But
Well, and that's how like sports coaches get spotted flying into different cities and stuff. It's impossible to get on a plane.
Here's
and not
the
have
thing.
someone know.
He's so fucking rich, he could buy 4 planes and operate 4 planes, and every time one took off, he could take off 3 others and be like, you don't know where the fuck I'm going. Like that. That's
you said sports coach. That's a great transition to my off topic. I'm tired
Go
of
for
this
it.
topic. All right. So my off topic is okay. Here's the thing: a sealed copy of John Madden Football, the original, was sold for auction. What you guys have? Take a guess. A sealed 1990 John Madden
90.
Football.
And John Madden
probably
just passed away. He just passed
died.
away.
Yep.
So
What do you think?
5 million.
I'm gonna say 120,000.
It was just shy of $500,000.
okay.
It was $480,000, setting the new record for sports video game. Do you want to guess what the most expensive video game ever sold? It sold in August of 2021. Guess the game and the price.
I'm gonna say it was Super Mario Brothers.
No, it's
Yes.
Oh, was it?
Correct. Ding, 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 ding. What do you
Yep.
think it went for?
1.25 million.
John, you got a guess for money?
2 million.
Ding, 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 ding. On the nose. Nice. Super
2
Mario
million.
Brothers, 2 million, the most expensive game ever sold at auction.
I'm assuming it was sealed.
Yes, that was the trick. They were sealed. And actually, so the Madden thing, that it's when John Madden was reached for comment from beyond the grave, you know what he said? John Madden, he goes, boom! Somebody paid $500,000 for my video game? What a dummy! I'd like to smack him upside the head. Whap! Nate Newton has a big rear end. Back to you, Pat. That's what
I was gonna
Brett
say.
Favre.
he did.
Yeah, that would have been 90s. Yeah.
John Madden really liked Brett Favre. So
But he liked Nate Newton's big butt too.
yep.
You cannot lie.
John Madden was a great dude. He was fun to listen to.
He was entertaining. He was a good foot, and he knew what he was talking about too. He was in the Telestrator. I wanted to make a Telestrator joke, but I couldn't. That's not a visual thing. But he was great on that.
But yeah, video games, depending on what they are and if you can get them sealed, especially the early ones, it's not uncommon to see them go for ungodly prices. So I'm
Right,
not
but
surprised.
Doesn't it, as a kid, like imagine all of the joy somebody could have had playing that video game?
Well,
No.
like if our parents still had the power mat.
They threw it out. It's like the
No, I don't know what happened to it, but like
There was a game for the regular Nintendo that used a mat that you jumped on.
the track and field thing.
Yeah. A few years ago, I think the power mat in the game sold for like $1 million.
Yeah, you can get them for about 350 right now. Don't you have an NES?
I do. And little known fact that the second controller on the NES controls the duck during Duck Hunt.
Oh yeah, where did you find that? You just went to duckhut.com. That's your homepage.
I don't know where that came from, but I had to go immediately try it, and it checks out.
All right, so it was not fake news. It was true.
No, it was true. And
Good.
it blew my mind because you know how many times I could have been screwing around with people? Like I had 3 brothers playing Duck Hunt. I could have been the guy like, not going to get it this time. We're going to have to see that stupid dog that laughs at you.
I like how nobody ever put that together. They never tried it. They were just focused watching the game.
Yeah. Well, you're shooting at ducks.
What are you going to do?
Trying to shoot the little dog that laughs at you and doesn't work. Can't do
I
it.
think it would have been funny if the duck would like shoot back. Just everyone. After you're out of ammo.
There is
he's
a
out of ammo,
game.
bah, 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 bah.
There is a game that is exactly that.
kind of.
I'll have to show Chris, but it's a VR game. where you play. It's kind of a horror game where you play as the duck hunt person, and you have the dog and ducks, and it's very weird.
Interesting.
It'd be funny if they had a hunting game where the animals are coming after you too. You're like, uh-oh, this is something. So this is defensive. Too. That's funny. If you could pull that up for next, it would be funny to see. But it's like you give hunters nightmares. Like,
well, before we sign off, I do have one more story that I thought would tie into my off topic last week, because last week I did the off topic of the murals that were found that were really old underneath the wall.
Mm-hmm.
There was another one that I saw, because apparently after I looked at that story, they wanted to show me more. Some people tore down either wallpaper or paneling, and the whole wall in this house was old baseball cards.
Yeah, I saw that too. They were like on tile. Like, yeah, they said it was like, oh, we did it one summer and they didn't even know about it.
Yeah,
old. And it was just as valuable as any other sports cards. 0.
Right. Yeah. Well, most sports cards, some are expensive, but it was cool. I was like, tear down your wall and you find sports cards. That's kind of fun. I built a wall a couple summers ago, and I put some sports cards in the wall, kind of as a time capsule. So when someone eventually tears it down, they'll find some old sports cards. I'm hoping they're like 100 years old at that point.
Oh, there you go. Nice. You left a little buried treasure for a contractor.
Yeah. And I put a dollar bill, nailed a dollar bill to the 2x4. Figured, why not? It's a little gold.
Likely never to be seen again.
You come back and it's missing, and you report. You call somebody stole the dollar. What?
And I was wrong. It was Deer Avenger. It's a game where you're a deer hunting humans.
Oh.
And then there's also a Predator, but that's.
All right. Well, it's about that time, we say.
Kirk's like, and on that note, we're out of here. Well, all right. Well, it was a weird show. We got sidetracked by candy bars and all kinds of different things, 3D printed meat, but we rounded it back out and we finished it up. Glad everybody could join us this week. Look forward to next week. We're getting close to that episode 52. John doesn't know about it yet. I told Kirk we might have a guest lined up for next week, so everybody stay tuned. It should be a pretty interesting show. Hopefully,
next week.
Cher. It's going to be Cher.
Yes, we'll talk about it after the show. No, it's not Cher. Yeah, it's Sunny Bone. Oh, never mind.
If
anyway.
you believe in life after love. Okay, sorry. Go.
So we might have a guest appearance on the podcast. Should be fun. So everybody do tune in next week, and we will keep things rolling. John, Kirk, anything to leave on?
I was going to quote my daughter again.
But... good buddy.
Every week, I'm thinking they're going to have some profound statement. Still hasn't happened.
Colors are dull like real life.
Yeah, you say something profound first. All right.
Actually, I do have. Chris has seen the project that I'm currently working on. I am making a 3D printed kilt, essentially.
Quite interesting. It'll be fun to see it when it's done.
Yes.
So stay tuned for that and the special guest, possibly.
Special guest, hopefully next week. But until then, everybody have a great weekend and go boldly, friends.